welcome to the Shattered Desert episode of how to position as a support. So this one's going to be boring because Shattered Desert is a garbage map. It was originally designed, bit of Paladins history here, it was designed as a TDM map and they made it into a siege map, so it's a bit wonky. Shattered Desert, the reason it's weird is because both sides are the same. So both sides are exactly the same, right? Like they're literally just mirror images of each other. The difference is in the backline, right? This one has like this whole tunnel area, and this side has this like little stage, right? I don't know if like the flank routes are different. I don't think they are too much, aside from this one that has this gigantic flank route right here. Right. This won't have too much impact on the mid. So for Shattered, this one is just how good are your fundamentals for positioning. So again, you probably, you probably don't want to position right here. This probably is not going to be good for you, right? Because it's in the open and it's spooky. So again, where's your DPS going? If your team is going playing like more right side, then playing this corner, right? You can sort of hug the hill. You can heal main. If your team's really pushing around to the right side, then you can sort of follow them and play down here. If the other team is holding like the flank, you can back up to like way back here if you really want to. Like really, this map is just the worst. There's no particular tip for it. I mean, there's like safe positions and stuff. There's just nothing to it. There's no, hey, this is where you want to position. It's like your team is going to take a side, and you want to position with them, right? So like if your team goes right, then this corner is probably going to be good. If they're flanking, then yeah, follow them a bit more closely. If your team wants to play left, then again, you can take the same position, and you can play this stage if you want. And if you push around, if you want to push around, or you want to get like this sort of angle, then yeah, you can play in this tunnel and push around. Biggest mistake probably is going to be either staying in main or being way too far in the open, right? So like if you're ever in like this sort of area right here, or like this sort of area, like don't just go down main, right? Even if you're using cover, right? You're still in main. Like if you have one DPS on each side, sure, this is safe. But even then, I thought that you play like more like to the side. Like let's say you have an Andrew over here, like a Barrack on point, and like a Khan and a Zin over there, right? And that's your two sides. It's like you're technically safe, you're using cover, you're in the middle of your team, but it's gonna be a bit better for you to be playing closer to people, just so that you're more readily available to help people. Yeah, it's a bit more dangerous, but I mean, it kind of depends on the comp. Like if they have a sniper, no, you don't just want to like peek this, right? You're gonna be forced to like hide down here the entire time. You're not actually able to do anything. Whereas if you play here, it's probably a bit spookier if the other team is like some sort of EV Mave type of flank, right? But then your team is closer. You still have corners to work with, right? You can still sort of do this. You can still back up. Like this map just sucks. The mid is literally just stay out of mid, follow your team, use the cover available. So using like I'm not gonna show like every wall on the map, right? But like you get the idea. So that's really it. For the push, so Kurt sort of rolls this way, right, through the tunnel. Your best spot is probably going to be, when the cart's not too far up, your best spot's going to be like this sort of corner. It's not really safe if the other team takes the space over there, right, because then you like have to back up to these stairs, and it's like really awkward, or you can hug this corner, but like then that's not safe from over there. So it's not super safe, right? But it is the best position if you are trying to push out, right? So it's kind of up to you whether you think this is a good spot given the situation. So again, judgment call and all that fun stuff. But generally, yeah, it's going to be up this side. Again, you got like these sort of covers. So just make sure you're on the high ground. That's really it. Like again, if you drop in main, that's main, and it's not great. I wouldn't push through here unless your team is like hard pushing through it. You can play the left side, but that's usually like this is fine, right? If you like push up here, but it's this isn't like a super great angle, and if your team is pushing it, that's fine. Go help them. Yeah, it's not the worst. But usually the bulk of the fight that you want to be helping is going to be in this sort of area. So you're going to be, again, using this sort of cover. There's no like super defined choke on this map, like which is weird. Like there's this sort of line, right? Like the cart usually fights somewhere inside this tunnel, and then there's like this one big fight where like everyone has their spawn doors. So it's kind of up to you. If you need to fall back and you need to hold this corner, it's fine. Again, just be careful of what you're peeking. So again, like this map just sucks. There's follow your team wherever they go. Your team's probably gonna go right side. You're probably gonna stay up here. Use the high ground. Use cover. For the last choke, I wouldn't stay here because this is only worth it if you ever get bullied out of this spot, right? This is your like plan B spot, and it's also good if like you're over, right? But if you're like some sort of Ying or Domba or something, or if you have range, might as well just play this door, right? It's pretty like you have the spawn door, right? So you pretty much always want to be using that. It's pretty cool. You have the option to push up if you really want to. Often DPS will play here. So if you're like, you know, I don't know what can, like if you're like a Domba and like you really want to go for an aggressive play, then you can just kind of look for a stun here or something. But again, it's like it's just spawn door. I wouldn't play in main because again, kind of spooky. You can play this spawn door, but it doesn't have as great LOS on top right. But overall, it's probably fine. Also, remember you can like actually jump back up. I was gonna say a cool spot for IO-Dog to put IO-Dog. You should be able to put IO-Dog right here. But now IO can't actually cap the point, so no real sense in talking about that, is there? So let's talk about the push. So the push is pretty much the same, right? You're gonna be pushing the cart until there's gonna be some sort of fight inside this tunnel. So at this point you have two options, right? You can either play these corners, right, and just help out with the fight inside the tunnels, or you can try to take the flanks with your team, right? Like I wouldn't, again, don't take flanks by yourself. But if your team's like pushing around here, then yeah, you can help us. If you're like a Genos, then yeah, this off angle is cool if it's safe and your team is with you. This angle is really far from main. You're not gonna be able to help main, but like if you have like a Ruckus and an Andro going around, then it might, and like your Domba and you have your ult, then it might be worth it to go here and like hit a big ult over there or something and help them. But again, generally, you are going to be sticking around these corners because it's really difficult for the other team to like push past this LOS when you're all hiding behind these walls. Just going to be pushing here. Again, stick to the high ground. Push card if you need to, right? Use the corners. Once you get to last choke, it becomes sort of a tank burn. Like who can burn whose tanks faster, and usually it's going to be the defending team, but like maybe you guys can ult or something. So usually it's going to be right here. If your team is pushing right side and you really want to help with the right side, then yeah, go for it. But generally it's going to be like this corner, dropping down here. Don't wide peek this. I've seen a lot of people wide peek this and be like, oh no, and then they get low and they use mobility back here, and then they're like some DPS peeks around the corner and they're like, man, how did they get that as well? Because you took like 5,000 damage by standing out here. But if you stand here, you take like 1,000 damage. You know, so using corners is like important. There's generally not too much you can do. So I'm just like pushing the high ground. If you're like a Grover or something, this angle can be kind of cool because then you can still help main. Like this angle is pretty safe unless something comes around all the way. But again, judgment call. So that's really it. This map sucks. So the fire is so loud, dude. As a quick recap, play on the outside. Try to stay out of main. Use like corners and all that fun stuff, right? Work it with your team, fundamentals, On defense, when the fight's in the tunnel here, you want to be holding on the high ground and using like the pillars as cover. On defense, you can hold up close on the stage here, but it's not really safe. Usually you just want to play spawn. On the push, again, there's going to be a fight in the tunnels, and you're probably just going to be like helping out with the fight here, or if you really want to, you can go help out with the flank routes if you think that'll help you guys win the fight faster. Once the cart gets to the last choke, which is like at these spawn doors, you're either playing this corner, or you're taking some cheeky off angle with your team on the right side, which is risky, but again, up to you. Usually you're just going to be playing behind the corners of one of the lanes though. So that's it for Shattered. I think we got like one map left, which is, I forget what the last map is, but anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed. So these are going really fast because again, this map sucks. Like, it just sucks. So remember to stay out of the fire because that'll kill you.